Captain Elara Wynne stood before the wide viewing window of the starship Ardent Dawn. Beyond the glass, space stretched out like an endless sea of darkness, filled with slow-moving rivers of light. Stars shimmered at a distance so far that even light had to travel for centuries to reach her eyes. Yet in all that vastness she felt both small and infinite at once. It had been 5 years since the Ardent Dawn left Earth orbit. Their mission was to explore the Perseus expanse, a deep region of space no human had ever reached. It was said that old signals, perhaps of alien origin, had been detected there decades ago. Many had dismissed them as cosmic noise, but humans had learned long ago that curiosity was what made them special. Elara was proud to be part of that legacy. Humans didn't reach the stars because it was easy. They reached because they wanted to know. But tonight, standing in her quiet cabin, her heart wasn't thinking about exploration or history. Her heart was thinking about Marcus Hale, the man she left behind on Earth. Marcus was a scientist at the Deep Space Communication Array, a global network that allowed ships like the Ardent Dawn to stay in touch with Earth. Every day, Elara would send him a message through the array, though it took nearly 9 hours for her words to reach him, and 9 more for his reply. It was a strange dance of patience and faith. Two lovers separated not by choice, but by time and light. The crew called them the long-distance legends. Even in the far reaches of deep space, people admired how their love survived the silence of the void. As the ship cruised through the black, Elara opened her console and read the message Marcus had sent earlier that day. His voice, though delayed, felt as if he were right beside her. "Elara, I looked at the stars tonight and thought of you. I know you can't hear me right now, but I still talk to you like you're here. Maybe that's how love works. Not by distance, but by connection. Stay safe, my captain, and when you see something beautiful out there, promise me you'll tell me about it." Elara smiled. Her hand touched the screen gently. "I promise," she whispered. Then, with a deep breath, she began recording her reply. "Marcus, today we crossed the outer edge of the Perseus expanse. The stars here shine in colors I've never seen before. They look alive, like they're breathing. You'd love it. I wish you could see it with me." She paused for a moment, her voice trembling slightly. "Sometimes I think space feels so big just to remind us how much we miss each other. But it also reminds me that love, our love, is strong enough to cross it." When she finished, she pressed send. The message would take hours to travel, but she didn't mind. She'd wait. She always did. The next morning, the Ardent Dawn reached a new region of space filled with strange blue mist. It was faint, like a fog drifting between the stars. The science team gathered on the bridge, fascinated. Lieutenant Kara said, "Captain, readings show the mist is made of ionized particles. It's harmless, but it's distorting our sensors. Can we navigate through it?" Elara asked. "Easily, ma'am," Kara replied. "But communication might flicker." Elara nodded. "Proceed carefully. Let's see what this part of the universe wants to show us." The ship glided into the mist, the blue light reflecting across its silver hull. It was beautiful, almost like sailing through a dream. But as the hours passed, the communications officer, Ensign Poe, noticed something strange. "Captain, the deep array signal from Earth just weakened. I'm getting interference on all channels." Elara frowned. "Is it the mist?" "Possibly. But the pattern is unusual, almost like the signal's being absorbed, not blocked." Elara leaned forward. "Absorbed by what?" No one had an answer. That night, Elara sat alone again in her cabin. The lights were dim, the hum of the ship's engines soft like a lullaby. She checked her console for Marcus's reply, but there was nothing. No message, no voice, only silence. It was strange. In 5 years, Marcus had never missed a day. She tried to send another message, but the system blinked red. Transmission failed. Her chest tightened. She tried again, manually routing through the backup antenna. Still nothing. For a long moment, Elara just stared at the screen, her reflection dimly visible. Tired eyes, calm face, but inside, worry slowly built. "Come on, Marcus," she whispered. "Say something." The next morning, Elara went straight to the bridge. "Report," she said. "Communications are still unstable," Ensign Poe said. "Whatever's out there, it's disrupting every frequency we have. We're trying to compensate." Elara looked at the screen showing the star map. The blue mist now surrounded them completely, glowing brighter than before. Lieutenant Kara spoke softly. Captain, it's not just mist anymore. We're detecting energy pulses inside it. Rhythmic ones. Almost like signals. Alara raised an eyebrow. Signals? From where? Kara looked uneasy. Unknown, ma'am. But they're repeating every 6 seconds. The bridge fell quiet. Everyone knew what that might mean. They were not alone. Alara called a meeting in the command room. Around the table sat her senior officers, faces lit by holographic displays of the anomaly. Poe began. The pulses are structured, not random. They could be some kind of communication attempt. Alara crossed her arms. Or a trap. Dr. Lena Voss, the ship's xenobiologist, leaned forward. Captain, this could be first contact. If something intelligent is out there, we have to try to understand it. Alara sighed softly. The explorer in her agreed. This was what humanity had always dreamed of. But the part of her that missed Marcus, the part that longed for his voice, whispered caution. Prepare a probe, she said finally. We'll send it into the center of the energy field. Keep all data open and record everything. Hours later, the probe was ready. The crew gathered as it was released from the ship, vanishing into the glowing mist. For a few minutes, data streamed back. Temperature, radiation, magnetic readings. All normal. Then suddenly, the screen flickered. Signal interference, Poe shouted. The lights dimmed and static filled the monitors. Then, through the noise, a sound came. A voice. Alara froze. The voice was broken, distorted. But she knew it instantly. Alara, don't... Approached it. Her heart stopped. It was Marcus. Replay that, she ordered. The recording repeated more clearly this time. Alara, listen. You must not go deeper, please. Everyone on the bridge exchanged shocked glances. Dr. Voss whispered, That's impossible. The signal came from inside the anomaly. There's no way his voice could be here. Alara stood silent, staring at the glowing mist beyond the window. Her mind raced. How could Marcus's voice be in a region light years from Earth? Was it a trick, an echo, or something far stranger? For the first time in her life, she felt afraid. Not of the stars, but of what they might be hiding. She turned to her crew, her voice steady but low. Record everything. No one does anything without my command. As the ship floated in the silent blue light, the crew of the Ardent Dawn could feel it. Something was watching them from within the mist. Something that had reached across time and space to speak in a familiar voice. And Alara Wynne, who had spent her life believing love was the strongest force in the universe, began to wonder if that love had somehow crossed the impossible distance. To warn her. The Ardent Dawn floated quietly in the blue mist that surrounded it like a dream. The crew worked in tense silence. The voice, Marcus's voice, still echoed in their minds. The sound had come from inside the mist, not from Earth. That fact alone made everyone uneasy. Captain Alara Wynne stood in front of the main display, staring at the frozen waveform of the transmission. Her eyes were calm, but inside her thoughts raced. It was his voice. She knew it. Every syllable, every tremor, and it was Marcus. But how could it be possible? Earth was almost 20 light years away. Even if he sent a message, it would take years to reach her. Dr. Lena Voss, the xenobiologist, leaned closer to the data screen. Captain, I've analyzed the audio. It's definitely human. But here's the strange part. The pattern contains temporal distortion. It's as if the message is coming from a few seconds ahead of real time. Alara frowned. Ahead of time? You're saying it's from the future? Lena hesitated. Not exactly. It's more like, the mist is bending time, creating small loops. We might be hearing fragments of future transmissions before they happen. The bridge was silent for a moment. Even in the world of science, there were things that sounded like pure magic. Alara finally said, Could it be trying to talk to us? Maybe, Lena replied. Or maybe it's just reflecting us, like a mirror that remembers every sound it hears. Alara looked out the viewing window. The mist glowed faintly, twisting in slow motion, almost like it was alive. She felt a strange pull. Not fear, but curiosity mixed with something deeper. Later, in her cabin, Alara replayed the voice again and again. Alara, don't approach it. Every time she heard it, her chest ached. It was Marcus, warning her, begging her. But what could he possibly know about this anomaly from so far away? She touched the small silver pendant around her neck, a gift from him before she left Earth. Inside it was a single photo, the two of them standing under the stars of their first observatory night. He had told her back then, "No matter how far you go, I'll always find you among the stars." Now those words felt hauntingly real. The next day, the science team launched a second probe, this one with stronger shielding and live video feed. As it entered the mist, the bridge screens flickered, showing waves of blue and gold light swirling around it. Energy levels rising, Ensign Poe reported, but still within safe limits. "Keep it steady," Alara said. Then, as the probe moved deeper, something unexpected appeared, a faint outline of a structure. Dr. Voss gasped. "Captain, look at that!" On the main screen, the shape became clearer, massive crystalline pillars forming a ring-like formation. It wasn't natural. It was built on or grown by something intelligent. Alara's heart began to pound. Magnify image. The closer the view got, the stranger it became. The walls shimmered with moving lights as if the structure was made of frozen energy. Patterns shifted across its surface, shapes that almost looked like letters, symbols, and even faces. Then the probe's camera glitched. The lights blinked. The image froze and a voice spoke again, clear, calm, and undeniably human. "Alara, you must understand." Her eyes widened. It wasn't Marcus this time. It was her own voice. The entire crew fell silent. Alara whispered, "That's me." The ship's systems went dark for 2 seconds, then returned. The probe feed was gone. Kara spoke, voice shaking slightly. "Captain, the probe signal just vanished. It's like something swallowed it." Alara took a deep breath. "All right. Whatever that structure is, it's not just a cloud. It reacts to sound, to thought, maybe even to us." Dr. Voss nodded slowly. "It might be alive, or a kind of machine that records consciousness. Maybe it's replaying memories. That could explain why it used your voice and Marcus's." Alara thought about that. A machine that records memories. She looked again at the mist outside. For the first time, she wondered, what if it wasn't trying to harm them at all? What if it was trying to communicate? That night, sleep refused to come. Alara sat by the window watching the glowing currents drift. Every ripple seemed to whisper faint sounds like distant voices overlapping. Then softly she heard it again. Marcus's voice, but this time clear and gentle. "Alara, if you can hear me, don't be afraid." She stood up, her heart beating fast. Marcus, where are you?" She whispered. The voice continued, "The anomaly. It connects memories, thoughts. I think it's reaching through time. You're so close now, Alara, but please don't lose yourself in it." Alara's eyes filled with tears. She reached out toward the sound as if she could touch it. "Marcus, is this really you?" The voice didn't answer. The mist outside shimmered, forming faint shapes, waves of light that looked almost like two people holding hands. She pressed her hand to the glass. "If this is your echo, Marcus, then I'll find the truth. I promise." The next morning, the crew gathered again. Alara looked calm but determined. "We're sending a manned shuttle," she said. Kara's eyes widened. "Captain, with all due respect, that's too risky. We don't know what's inside." Alara nodded. "I know. That's why I'm going." There were protests, but her tone left no room for argument. "This is what we came here for. To understand, not to run." Minutes later, the shuttle detached from the ardent dawn, gliding toward the glowing structure. From the ship, the crew watched as it disappeared into the mist. Inside the shuttle, Alara's heartbeat echoed loudly in her ears. The deeper she went, the brighter the light became. Soft waves of blue, gold, and silver swirling around like living clouds. The air shimmered with faint vibrations like distant singing. Suddenly, the sensors spiked. "Energy readings off the charts," she murmured. "No radiation." But something else. Like brainwave frequencies? Then the light ahead opened, revealing the structure she had seen on the probe feed. Massive, majestic, and strangely peaceful. The pillars pulsed with energy. Alara slowly approached, recording everything. When she placed her gloved hand on one of the crystal surfaces, it responded instantly. The lights brightened, and in that moment her mind filled with visions. She saw Marcus, smiling at her from their last night on Earth. She heard his laugh, felt the warmth of his hand in hers. She saw the ardent dawn launching into space, and then, herself years later, standing right where she was now. The visions flowed like water, not memories, echoes. Her voice spoke softly from somewhere deep in the light. Love is a signal the universe remembers. Tears rolled down her cheeks. She whispered, "What are you?" The light pulsed gently as if answering. Inside it she could see not just human memories but countless others. Beings of different forms, emotions, and lives. The structure wasn't a trap. It was a memory engine, a vast recorder of consciousness, preserving the feelings of those who passed near it. And somehow, it had captured her and Marcus's love, their messages, their emotions, through the deep space signals they had shared. That was why it spoke with his voice. That was why it remembered her. Her comms crackled. "Captain, we're losing you," Kara's voice shouted through static.
"Energy surge approaching."
"You need to come back." Alara hesitated, looking once more at the glowing core. She felt peace there, a strange, comforting warmth. She whispered to the light, "Thank you for remembering us." Then she turned the shuttle around and flew back toward the ardent dawn. As she broke through the mist, the ship came into view. Relief filled the bridge as her signal returned. When she docked, the crew cheered, but Alara's eyes were distant. She looked out the window once more at the now fading glow of the anomaly. "Captain?" Dr. Voss asked gently. "What did you see in there?" Alara smiled softly. "Not danger," she said. "Something beautiful. It wasn't trying to harm us. It was trying to remember us." That night, Alara sat alone again, recording a new message for Marcus, even though she didn't know if it would ever reach him. "Marcus, I found something today. It was alive in a way we can't understand, not through bodies but through emotion. It remembered me, remembered us. Maybe that's what love really is, a message strong enough to echo across time." She paused, her voice trembling slightly. "If you ever hear this, know that I'm thinking of you, always." She pressed send at outside. The mist slowly faded into darkness, and the stars shone bright once again. But somewhere deep within that light, the anomaly pulsed softly, repeating her words again and again, carrying her love into the endless silence of space. The ardent dawn floated quietly at the edge of the Perseus expanse. The blue mist was gone now, leaving only the dark calm of space around them. But something in the air felt changed. Lighter, softer, almost sacred. Captain Alara Wynne stood by the main window, her reflection glowing in the dim lights of the bridge. She hadn't slept much since returning from the anomaly. Her mind kept returning to what she saw. The visions, the voices, the strange warmth that had felt so familiar. Dr. Lena Voss entered quietly. "You're still awake, Captain?" Alara smiled faintly. "Hard to sleep when you've just spoken to the universe." Lena stepped beside her, following her gaze out into the stars. "You think it was alive?" Alara shook her head slowly. "Not alive like us, but aware. It felt like a memory given shape. Maybe it was left behind by a civilization long gone. Maybe it learned to record emotion because that's what it found in us first. Love." Lena folded her arms. "Then it remembered Marcus." Alara nodded, her voice soft. "And me." The next day the crew gathered for a debrief. The ardent dawn was ready to continue its mission, but the anomaly had left questions that no one could easily answer. Ensign Poe spoke first. "Captain, before the signal faded, the anomaly transmitted something. A pulse with structured data. We think it's a message." Alara leaned forward. "A message? Can you decode it?" Poe nodded. "Partially, it's coordinates, but not normal space coordinates. They describe a region outside known navigation maps, like it's pointing somewhere beyond the expanse." Dr. Voss frowned. "Another structure?" "Possibly," Poe said. "Or maybe the source of all these energy readings." Alara considered quietly for a moment. Then she said the words the crew knew were coming. "Set a course. We'll follow it." Days passed as the ardent dawn moved through regions no human had ever entered. Strange lights shimmered around them at times, soft flashes like whispers of forgotten dreams. The ship's sensors picked up faint signals that almost sounded like music. The crew began to notice odd things too. Sometimes in the quiet corridors they'd hear soft echoes, laughter, whispers, even their own voices repeating a second later. But there was no fear among them. It felt peaceful, as if the ship itself was being watched over. And Alara, she could feel it. The presence of something kind, something that remembered. Late one night she recorded another message for Marcus. She still sent them every day, even though she knew Earth couldn't receive them right now. Marcus, the stars ahead are different. They shine like eyes full of memory. I think the universe keeps every word we say, every emotion we send. Maybe that's how love becomes eternal. It gets written into the light itself. She smiled sadly and ended the recording. 2 days later, they reached the coordinates. What appeared before them made every crew member fall silent. A giant ring of light floated in space, glowing with gentle silver and gold energy. It wasn't made of matter. It was pure energy, bending around itself like a loop of time. At its center, a faint object hovered, the remains of a smaller ship, ancient and unfamiliar. Alara whispered, "It's beautiful." Dr. Voss studied the readings. "Captain, this ring, it's producing a low-frequency field similar to the one inside the first anomaly, but this one's stronger, much stronger." Poe looked up from his console. "We're picking up human data patterns inside it." Ilara's eyes widened.
Human? How?
"It matches our own transmission signatures," Poe said, "like the ones we sent to Earth years ago. But they're all being replayed here, layered on top of each other." Lena stepped closer to the screen.
Captain?
"It's your voice." The bridge filled with a soft hum as the sound came through the speakers. Ilara's own words, repeating from years of transmissions. "Marcus, today we crossed the Perseus edge. The stars here shine in colors I've never seen. Sometimes I think space feels so big just to remind us how much we miss each other." The voices overlapped, hundreds of her own messages echoing together like a symphony. And through them, faintly, another voice joined, Marcus's. "Stay safe, my captain. When you see something beautiful, promise me you'll tell me about it." Tears formed in Ilara's eyes. Every message they had ever sent to each other had been caught in the network of anomalies, preserved, carried, repeated across the stars. The ring was not a trap. It was a library of love, the universe keeping record of the human heart. But then the readings changed. "Captain," Poe said sharply, "the ring's field is destabilizing. Energy output rising fast." Ilara turned. "Can we move back?" "Negative, ma'am. The gravity field's pulling us in." The ship trembled as the ring's light grew brighter, flooding the bridge in gold. Alarms blared. "Shut down the main reactor," Ilara ordered.
All power to thrusters.
The ship struggled, engines burning at maximum. But the pull only grew stronger. Kara shouted, "At this rate, we'll be torn apart." Ilara took a deep breath. Then, in the middle of the chaos, she felt something. A calm presence like a heartbeat within the light. She closed her eyes. For a moment, the alarms faded. She heard Marcus's voice again, clear and close, as if he were standing beside her. "Ilara, don't fight it. Trust the light." Her heart steadied. She opened her eyes and shouted, "Cut all power! Let it pull us in." The crew stared at her in shock. "Captain, that's an order," she said. Reluctantly, they obeyed. The engines went silent and the ship drifted freely into the ring of light. As they entered, the world transformed. The bridge dissolved into brilliance, a sea of shining threads stretching in every direction. Each thread shimmered with images, voices, and memories, not just of humans, but of countless beings from different worlds. Ilara floated among them, unafraid. She saw the ardent dawn, her crew, and Marcus, all woven into the same endless pattern. Then a gentle figure formed in front of her, made entirely of light. It spoke with 1,000 blended voices, old and new, human and alien, but warm and kind. "We remember. All that is given in love is never lost," Ilara whispered. "Why me? Why us?" "Because your voices reached further than any others. The universe heard your love. It was the purest signal we've ever known." She felt tears on her cheeks. "What will happen to us? You may leave, or you may stay. If you stay, your memory will guide others who come after. Your love will light their way." Ilara looked back at the image of her ship, her crew still safe within the glow. They would survive. Humanity would continue. Then she thought of Marcus, waiting on Earth, growing older, still looking at the stars. She smiled softly. "Then let my light guide him too." Moments later, the ardent dawn burst free of the ring. The light faded behind them, leaving only a calm, star-filled sky. The crew checked their systems. Everything was stable. But the captain's chair was empty. Lena stood frozen, tears welling in her eyes. "She's gone," she whispered. No one spoke for a long time. Then Poe said quietly, "Look." Outside where the ring had been, a single bright star now shone, brighter than all the others. And from that star came a faint transmission, repeating endlessly through the void. Ilara's voice. "Love is the only force that endures the silence between stars." Years later on Earth, Dr. Marcus Hale, now old and gray, sat beneath the night sky with a small radio receiver beside him. Every evening he listened to the same signal, Ilara's voice soft and steady, crossing the distance between them. He smiled every time he heard it. "Love is the only force that endures the silence between stars," he whispered back. "And I'll keep listening forevermore." Above him, the sky shimmered faintly, as if one star, brighter than the rest, had heard him and smiled back.